Or should I fill it up more?
Try to make the soil thicker on the end
Okay.
here. You know, so it's more like half a pot there.
Then,
like
okay, and then
and then
right there.
Yeah. I also should have explained sorting the pots. We have a lot of bad pots.
Okay, so this is so Amanda's getting the hang of that, and Michael's going to explain the selection that the section we probably should have done in the beginning, and we might edit this at the beginning, who knows. But it's when you're picking out pots, there's depending on what you're doing it for, but some of them are kind of worn out, and I can explain this a little bit, but Michael can demonstrate. Depending on if we're going to put a whole bunch of them, like if we're going to put a bunch of cuttings or seeds in one pot and just set it in the nursery to kind of sprout, then if it's got a loose lip, then it's not that big of a deal. But if we're going to pot them individually, right, so we want them to have a little bit more structural integrity because we can spill soil, right?
Yeah, like especially for something like this, these are plants that may sit in our greenhouse for 2 or 3 years before they get adopted. Hopefully they'll get adopted sooner than that, but they could be in here for 2 or 3 years. All of our pots are secondhand. Some of them are more worn out than others. Pots get photodegraded by being out in the sun, and you can see this one is fairly degraded. It still looks like a pretty good pot. We could put soil in there, we could plant one of these in there, and it could sit in the nursery for a little while, and then when we go to take it to a sale, we pick this up and the rim just snaps. You can see here we got a crack in the rim there. There's some bug climbing on my neck here.
So make sure you wear your bug spray.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but it's climbing on me. Anyway, so this pot, you see how it's starting to crack kind of all over the place. That is a sign that this pot has photodegraded and is just brittle and not something you want to use. Because especially sitting out in the nursery another couple of years, there's probably not going to be much integrity left to this rim. And it's just going to split when we try to pick up the pot and dump the soil out. And when you're running late trying to load up for a sale, that's the last thing you want.
So is there any other ways you recommend
you
to
can
test?
See that's broken. So basically, you grab it, you give it a good yank, make sure nothing breaks. And if it does, if there's a little crack somewhere, put it in the discard. So that's not a pot we want to use. We'll try to give that away if somebody else doesn't mind broken pots, or we might use that for starting seeds. If it's only going to be used for a month and then we're going to transplant stuff out of it, it doesn't really matter if the rim's in good shape. This is another one that I like to pull out of the discard. Well, it's sort of a different category. You can see that there's a slight difference in size. This one is just a slightly lower volume. So for things like this, I usually use for plants that are going to stay small, or the creeping vining kind of things like the mint that we do and the go-to cola. And save these pots for them because except this one's got a break in the rim, so this one's going in the discard. But if I find intact ones of those, I use those for the mints and the go-to colas and things because they don't really need a big pot. Something like this that is going to get as big as it can in that pot, possibly before it gets sold. I want to give it more, the full cheater 1 gallon room. That's even smaller than this is known as a cheater 1 gallon. It's not actually 1 gallon, or it's usually just referred to as a 1 gallon, but real 1 gallon pots are slightly bigger than this, and this one's even smaller than that, so we only use those for certain things that don't need much of a pot.